Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're doing a half-time sort of analysis thing on the Six Nations. 3 rounds have gone, there's still 2 rounds to go, so it's not really half-time, but it's the week off in the middle, so we'll class it as. So we're going to have a look at each team and see where they're at, see who can. There's probably about still 3 teams who have a realistic shout of winning it, or have a shout. There's only really one with a realistic, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, so before we get in, I put a poll to you guys a few days ago about who you think's going to win, and I gave you 4 options. I gave you Scotland and Ireland, who are both two of the 3 teams, and then I gave you France, but I gave you 2 options for France. France for a Grand Slam and France without a Grand Slam. So 14% of you think Scotland are going to win, 14% of you think Ireland are going to win, 21% of you think that France are going to win but not get their slam, and a whopping 50% have said that France are going to win with the slam. So I think it's fairly decisive what people think. France are obviously runaway leaders. 71% of you think that France are going to win it. Pretty comfortable amount for the French there. Still got a couple of tough games. Obviously they've still got to actually play Scotland, so if Scotland are in with a chance, but I'll talk about that now a bit. But yeah, so let's have a look at the teams. I'm just going to go bottom up. So in 6th, obviously, at the minute, we have Wales. Wales, we all know Wales' problems at the minute. I don't think I need to reiterate that. They did look better against Scotland. They were battered in the first 2 games, but they did look better against Scotland. I think it's just the way they set up to attack in the middle of the pitch. Wales are a lot better. Wales are one of the best attacking outputted teams when they get into the 22. I believe they're the 4th best in the world, behind New Zealand, South Africa and France. So they're not bad at that at all. They are just struggling to get into the 22. And I think that's what they did a lot differently against Scotland, was they attack differently around the halfway line. Ultimately, still though, the same problems hit. I thought their penalty count with silly penalties again wasn't great. And then you've obviously got the lapse in concentration, that 2 or 3 second switch off that led to that Darcy Graham try. For the other 2 games they got battered by England and France. I thought they weren't bad, especially against France. I didn't think they were terrible, but France are just that good at the minute that, I can't see anyone stopping them or anyone really getting close to them this tournament, if I'm going to be honest, but I'll talk about France in a bit. So Wales overall not the best. Obviously they've not won a game, but there is signs of improvement. Up to 5th, and I think this is roughly in 5th, but this kind of says about the strength of the tournament so far, and that is Italy. They have won 1, lost 2. They beat Scotland in Rome for the 2nd Scotland visit to Rome in a row. They won in what was monstrous. I mean, they may well have just been playing rugby in a swimming pool. They ran Ireland really close, and then again got fairly well shafted by France, although I didn't think they were that bad. Italy are definitely on the up. They got a young squad in 2 or 3 years ago, and you're starting to see these players hit that maturity that they maybe lacked, and you are seeing it in the performances. I thought against Scotland, yes, Scotland collapsed, and I'll talk about Scotland in a bit, but I think that, it was a lot more mature performance. Italy, they managed to keep the scoreboard going. Their scrum has been immense. I mean, the prop Ferrari, are you sure he's not just a car with the amount of power he's got? I mean, Tide Furlong may well have been a rocket ship with how high he got shot up. So absolutely beautiful from Italy. They've got their next two are England and then Wales. And again, I've spoken about Wales, I'll get to England in a minute. Italy have a real chance to go and get 3 wins. After watching England and Wales, if I'm Italy, 2 wins is definite, and I'd probably say the favourites going into the next 2 games. Which just tells you everything you need to know. Italy, they are in a really good place. Can they get top 3? I'd say it's possible, especially with, I know I keep mentioning Scotland. They've got to play the other 2 teams in the top 3. They've got to play France and Ireland. So if they're not careful, they're not going to finish in the top 3 if they lose both those games. Can Italy take that place? We'll have to wait and see. Next up, we've got England. England are a weird one to analysis. I thought they absolutely destroyed Wales in the first round, keeping that win streak. I think it went up to 13. And then it all fell apart at Murrayfield. Not surprising, England do struggle at Murrayfield. And I did say in my breakdown of the last few England games, England are a simple... Why am I yawning all the time? Sorry. Oh. England are a simple team to beat if you play them in the right way. And what both Scotland and Ireland did when they both beat them was they played them that way. That is how they won, and both won so comfortably. Also, I think England players haven't been on form. I don't think Ford's been that good in his last few games. I don't rate some of the players they're playing at the minute. I don't think they've got a good winger at the minute. The only English winger I think's worth much at this level is Faye Woboso, because he's always injured. You can't really rely on him. But yeah, the last 2 games are Italy, then France, and honestly, I've got no idea what to expect from them. I can quite comfortably see them losing or winning. I can see them losing 50 points to 10. I can see them winning 50 points to 10 in both of these games. Who knows? Who knows? They've got a week. They've got to find themselves again. They can't really win it. I don't think any team in the history of the Six Nations ever won it after losing 2 games. But they can still finish in a respectable 2nd or 3rd if they can pull themselves together a little bit. Next up in 3rd, we've got Ireland. It's a rough few games for Ireland. They obviously got beat fairly convincingly by France in the first round, and then they got ran incredibly close by Italy. So if you look at the first 2 games, not been the best of starts for Ireland. Yes, they got their win, which is good, but with the game against England and I'll just say how it is, the drubbing it was, 42-21. Have they put themselves back on track? I think a big thing for that is the 10. I think Crawley coming in for Prendergast did make a big difference. I think McCloskey's been really good in all his games. I've also been a fan of Balogun on the wing. You've probably all heard that song that's going around TikTok and stuff. I do quite like that song. But I do think he is a solid player. The next 2 games are Wales and then Scotland. Ireland, Wales, it's always a weird game. It always feels like one of those games that Wales could get a result, but Ireland could also run away with it. And I've said this a lot, it's actually quite hard to predict, and I think that's a good thing for the tournament. You know, you don't want to be sitting here going, they're going to win every game, which is kind of what we've got. I'll talk about France in a minute, but yeah. I like the fact that really between Ireland, Scotland, England and Italy, there's not much in it. There really isn't. And then you've got Wales, who after the performance against Scotland, they might be able to get something. And then if Ireland do get over the line, they will have a Triple Crown decider in Dublin against Scotland. on the final day, and maybe even possibly a title decider if someone can reign in France. I doubt it though, but we'll wait and see. Going up second, we've got Scotland. After that loss to Italy, which goodness knows what that performance was, I'm going to be honest. Again, as I said, it may well have been played in a swimming pool. The rain would have played a factor. However, it was raining for both teams, so you can't really blame it fully. I just think it was a poor Scotland performance. They are known to do that. But then they turned it round, got a big win against England, which is kind of standard for them these days, and then did just about manage to back that up in Cardiff after quite a good scare from Wales for Scotland. They're sitting second. They've got France and Ireland last, so two very tough games. However, if they can find a result against France at Murrayfield, which has happened before, what was it, 2020, when France came to Scotland in I think it was about round 4 again, on course for a fairly comfortable Grand Slam, and just fell apart at Murrayfield. Scotland ended up winning that tournament. So could it be similar here? I don't know. And then they do have a potential Triple Crown. Well, Scotland are definitely on for the Triple Crown. Ireland may also be on for the Triple Crown, depending on how the Wales game goes before it, against Dublin. And if Scotland can at least win one of those games, you'd be thinking going, if they can beat Ireland and Dublin, which, again, who knows, Ireland seem to just always be able to beat Scotland, and Scotland come second or third with a Triple Crown, I think most Scotland fans would take that. But, there's a chance to reign in France. And speaking of France, yeah, they're more than likely on for the Slam. You guys said it yourselves, with 71% of you saying they were going to win, 50%, and 50% are you thinking they're going to get the Slam. So, I'd be interested to see, out of the 21% of you who said they won't get a Slam, who are they losing to, Scotland or England? I'm just curious. I myself think they're going to win with a Slam. I'm just curious if you voted France for a win with no Slam, who do you see beating France at the minute? So let me know if you did vote that, or if you didn't vote and you do think. France actually can win the title at Murrayfield if they get a bonus point win against Scotland, or if they get 5 points over. So if they get a bonus point win and Scotland get nothing, Scotland are currently 4 behind them. So if France can pull at least, if France can pull at least 2 points on Scotland, no, they'd need the win because of Ireland, but yeah, France can win at Murrayfield with bonus point win. That's all that matters. They're more than likely going to do that. They're more than likely going for the Slam. I think they've been incredible this season. But yeah, that's it. Where do I think the table's going to end up? Wales are going to be last. I think that they're going to show potential, but I think it might be similar to the Scotland game where they give them a fight but just about fail at the final hurdle. A bit out there. Fifth, I'm going to go England. More out of hope, but with how they've performed in the last 2 games, I can see them losing both their next 2 games. So, England there. Then I'm going to put Scotland in 4th. I think they're going to lose the next 2 games, and they're going to slip a bit. I am then going to put Italy in 3rd. I think they're going to win their next 2 games. And then Ireland in 2nd. I think they're going to win their next 2 games. And then I think France is going to win the Slam. That's my prediction. If you made it this far into the video. Thank you very much for watching. Bit of a long one, bit of a breakdown. Hope you enjoy. As I said, if you said France to win without a slam, let me know who's beaten them between Scotland and England, because I can see arguments for both and I can see arguments against both, so let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed, I'll see you later.